right, we've got another fantastic red wine, which, let's face it, this is in honor of Mr. Lou Zin over here. It's a Zinfandel.
Oh yeah.
First of all, again, I feel like a broken record, but Zinfandel is a great holiday, crowd-pleasing wine. It's often somewhat underrated, but it can go with a lot of different foods. You know, you don't have to have food with it. As you say, you like to sometimes start the night with it. But in all honesty, Mr. Lou Zin, this is his jam right here.
You know, my favorite wine is Zinfandel, as you guys know by now. But also, I just want to point out, as you know, Zinfandel is called the winemaker's wine. More winemakers love Zin than any other varietal. And I think the reason, Meredith, because we closed our eyes sometimes with a Zin, and I go, okay, you tell me what this is, you'd be going, Malbec, no Merlot, no Cab Franc, you know, like it's every characteristic of good reds.
Yeah, and I think another thing that you've brought up before is that you can kind of, depending on how you grow it and what you do when you make it, it can kind of be like a chameleon a little bit. Like you can kind of guide like what it grows into.
We like this one especially because of where it came from. That, and it's a 2015. We've been looking for some aged wines that we could get our hands on, and this came to us.
And you know, I think that's a good point you bring up, because often people are afraid of aged wines. In the United States, US, people are afraid of aged wines, thinking that means that they've gone bad. But if you look at old world countries, and we've talked about this before, there are places like France and Italy where they don't release them for at least 5 years, if not longer.
Yeah, so actually, if we were in Europe now, this is when they would release it, about this last year.
And what the benefit of that age on it, so we toss a really young wine can be very one-dimensional. Often it just has what we call primary notes. It's floral, it's fruity. Then as it ages a little longer, especially if it is in wood or oak, it gets that secondary notes. So then you get spice added to it, wood notes. But what really happens to wines as it evolves into those other additional years is you get tertiary notes.
In the bottle.
Yeah.
Like when it has time to meet everybody.
Yeah, it's again, I mean, we've used this example. It's like making a Sunday gravy, as some Italians, and you let it simmer all day.
Perfect.
And sometimes, actually, the next day it even tastes better.
Perfect word picture.
It's kind of the same with aged wine. Like the more those flavors integrate together and more flavors evolve, it makes it a more complex wine.
Golly, the flavors in this: blueberry, blackberry. I'm getting like red raspberries.
And that's what's really even more unique, is that it's older and those fruits are still bright.
And exactly, and what I really like is how long it's staying on our palates.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
That's a sign of a good wine. The longer it stays on your palate, I'm still breathing it.
I'm still tasting all those flavors, but then I'm getting some of that earthiness, and again, some of those, people think it's weird when you say you get leather notes in a wine, but on the back of my palate, subtle, but it's there.
Yeah, I got it. I love where this came from too. It sort of came from like where Napa and Sonoma meet, Fountain Valley.
Yeah.
It's
Fountain Grove.
Fountain Grove, excuse me.
No, I always say that too.
Right by Knights Valley, which some of the best cabs in the world are coming from right now. Basically, it's almost side by side with the Anderson Valley where Silver Oak grows. So the climate is beautiful up there. Yeah. It's a natural for growing this Zinfandel. And not to be redundant, but don't forget, if you're doing any grilling over the holidays, killer. This is the wine.
Yeah, this is that. My dad smokes his turkey.
Oh, yeah.
And I gotta say, this with a smoked turkey.
This would be good. Pinot or this? That's gonna be a tough decision for you.
I think I might do my little 2 tasting glasses.
Oh, yeah.
And I decide which goes better, and then I pour a full glass of that
I
wine.
challenge all you to do it the same thing. Pour a glass of this and a Pinot, and you start developing your own palate, like what you love to pair.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I get nerdy about it, but it's kind of what's fun about wine.
You're gonna love this Zinfandel, guys. This is a big boy. Cheers.